All right, part B of the token packs question. In this one, we have to follow the rules that are given here to distribute tokens. So we are doing a method called distribute current player tokens. It doesn't return anything and it doesn't take in anything, right? So all it's changing is this board variable by distributing the tokens based on the rules that are listed here and listed in the question. To help visualize this, right, here's what the board would look like with the actual tokens. So I know they have numbers here, but I thought to do it with actual tokens might help make sense of the question. So for this example, the current player is position 2. We're going to take its tokens, right? So we're going to take them all out of here, and I make a variable called tokens and set it to be 6. So in the code, you'll see we'll have something called tokens, and it'll equal however many are in that spot, in this case 6. All right. And so that tokens, then I do a while loop and I keep distributing the tokens while they're still tokens, right? So basically while tokens is greater than 0, I'm going to distribute one, start with the one on the right. And then if we hit the end, then you loop back to the beginning. So once we're here, now we're going to loop back and then this one's going to get a 4th token. This spot's going to get a 3rd token. This one's going to get its 1st token. This one's going to get what would that be, the 12th token there. And then we have our last token looping back to the beginning, and that will get a 5th token. Okay, so that concludes the turn because we're out of tokens. All right, and so at the end, it should look like that numerically, but we just distributed out the tokens. Okay, and I read through the directions a couple times. I don't think we actually have to move the player over. Like in a normal game, I think the player would switch to the next player, but this method is just distributing the tokens. So the current player is still the same. It's just the tokens in the array have changed. Okay, so that's a visual of it. And then the code, I think the best thing to do is step by step, right? So I'm going to go back here maybe and just set it up in the beginning, right? So the first thing we did is make a tokens variable and set it equal to however many tokens there were in the current player's spot, right? So that line of code would look like, so we make a variable called tokens and set it to be however many tokens are in the current player spot on the board, right? So we're going to, again, these variables are up here. So we do whatever the current player is, that's an index in the board, and we set tokens to be however many tokens are in that spot. Okay, so next up visually is, so basically we're going to move these out. So tokens is now 6, but then we want to set this spot to be 0, right? Because we've taken these tokens away. So now this we want to become a 0, right? So in my code, I'm going to do board at position current player, and then I'm going to set that to be 0 tokens. Okay, and then as far as like distributing them, all right, I need to set a variable that keeps track of, um, which one I'm distributing to, right? So I need one for these indexes. So I'm going to make one called like IDX for index and set it to be one more than the current player. So I'm going to do int IDX equals current player, whatever that is, plus 1. All right. And then I'm going to do a while loop that says while I still have tokens. So while tokens is greater than 0, I'm going to place the token. And one thing, like at first glance, you might want to see board position IDX gets a token, so it goes up by 1. But we have to check that we haven't run to the end of the board, right? Because visually, when we hit here, when we hit the length of this, we need to go back to 0, right? So you can do this with mod, or the way I like to do it is just basically say if the IDX equals the length of the board, it means we've got to the end, then we set the IDX back to 0. All right. So then we place the token, right? So basically we say if we're at the end, we go back to 0. Otherwise, we just place the token at our IDX spot. Okay. So again, I'm going to do this visually. So we're going to place the token over here. All right. And then we've got to do a couple things, right? We have to decrease the tokens because we placed one. And then we also have to increase the IDX to go to the next spot, right? So at this point, I'm going to do plus plus IDX to go over to the next placement spot. And I'm going to do minus minus tokens because we have one less token to place. All right. And then just keep looping while there's still tokens. And I believe that is it. That's it. We've already placed all the tokens. While there's still tokens, place them, and then we're done. When I originally did this question, I thought you'd maybe have to advance the player. So put this code in here when I first did this question because I thought you'd have to like say go to the next player. So I'll show you that code here quick if you want to take a look at it. We just increase the current player, but then if we've got to the end of the players, then we need to set it back to the 0 player. But I don't think we need to do that here. It's not in the directions as far as I can tell. So our solution should just be distribute tokens, which is shown up there. All right, hope that helps. Let me know if you have questions.